It's time for PaleoRadio, only on Secular Media Network.
You are now entering PaleoRadio.
Welcome to PaleoRadio with your hosts, Jeremiah Bannister and Joe Elder.
Thank you so much, Angela and Nathan, for that fantastic introduction. I'm your host, the one and only Jeremiah Bannister, Paleocrat with a capital P. It's totally me. And I am in an interesting place, surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Some of my favorite people are here today. I am live in the studio here at WPRR Public Reality Radio in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm flying solo. Okay, Joe, he's gone. Joe is in what is it? It's Isle Royale. It's a fancy schmancy place up north. It's pretty high up north, in fact. I don't know if you can get much further north than Isle Royale. It's an island. It takes quite a trip there on a boat in order to get there, but I think that he's actually going full fancy pants, and he's taking a plane, one of those that come down and they land on the water all cool looking like an 80s show. He's going to be doing that, and so I can't wait to hear about his adventures, but he's gone. He's not here, and it's the first time in 2 months. Anyone who's been listening, they've been hearing his voice by himself now for about 2 months. I've been on hiatus, and the reason for that, if you've been following, you already know. If you do not, and you have not been following the story, you're going to learn a lot about it today. And what happened was, back in March of 2015, my daughter, Samantha Bannister, at age 10, was diagnosed with brain cancer. And it was really rare and aggressive kind of brain cancer. And she went through many different things, many different trials and terrors, in fact, things that were really hard and difficult, but also led a very inspirational life until this past July, when she died at 6:54 a.m. A month leading up to that, we knew that there were difficult times ahead. We were in a place where there weren't any options. That's what we were told. And we rolled with it. We said, we need to dedicate this time to Samantha. We don't know if she's going to live through this. Her cancer had not only grown in its original spot, where it was before it had melted with radiation. She had a recurrence, and it was back in the original place, but it was also in two different places. The first one was in her thalamus, and the second one was also in her thalamus, but the opposite side of the brain. And the third one was near the frontal lobe. And so she went through all of these different things, and she died. And after she died, I've been on hiatus since. I've called it a great fog. But in this great fog, there were all of these amazing things that happened right after she died. In fact, even before that, if you want to just rewind a little bit to a couple days before her passing, when we returned home from Beaumont Hospital, the last place that we gave our final hurrah in trying to save her life, where we made the decision to bring her home. When we came back, there were people outside our house with signs. And it was a beautiful thing getting out of the ambulance. And we were led, of course, it was like an 8-car, was it like 8 cars? An 8-car caravan. And it was led by a zombie SUV. It's like they dress up, and they dress up as zombies or zombie killers at times. Zombie hunters. And they led the way. But after that day, and actually beginning that day, people started flooding in. The first 2 days, there were about 300 people who walked through the doors of our home. In fact, the second morning that she was home, I woke up probably around like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and someone inside the house, one of my family members, told me, "You have a lot of people outside. You need to let them in." And I look out the window, and there's like 25 people standing on the sidewalk at 8:30 in the morning. I'd never seen such a thing in my life. I opened it up. People coming in, people getting pictures, sitting down next to Samantha, bringing gifts of all different kinds. And then, of course, when she died, that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like it. If you've never lived through watching someone die, especially watching a child die. It's a real rush. It's a thing. Traumatizing, mind-splitting, heart-crushing. It's real. I wouldn't believe it. I've said this before, but I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen a video of it myself. We had a visitation. And it was broken down into two. We had one earlier in the day and one later in the day. And about 250 people show up. Right? Almost 300. And then we had her funeral where we encouraged people to dress up. Right? It was a blast. It was beautiful. It was painful. But it was beautiful. Poems were read. Songs were sung. And kids and adults dressed up in all different ways. In fact, even the funeral home, and they'd never done it before. It was the first time that this funeral home had dressed up for a funeral. And they did amazing. It was awesome. I guess the one thing that wasn't awesome was the ticket guy. I don't know if you haven't seen that going around. It was a guy who gave Samantha's hearse a ticket. In fact, not just one. Yeah, I got Lauren over here. Her jaw just dropped. Unbelievable. Yeah, get her on the microphone. Her jaw, you should have seen her face. It's hilarious.
Because I had heard that happening. I don't know that was for you, though. For you guys. I'd heard about that. That's an atrocity.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, and I was outside. See, here's the thing. I was outside when that happened. And I was trying to get away from everything because I only had like maybe 2 hours of sleep. I wrote her eulogy that night. Between 1 and 4 in the morning, I couldn't sleep. I was a wreck. And I'm out there trying to get away, right? Trying to breathe and not have a panic attack. I was scared. And I go outside and here's this guy and he's putting a ticket in the hearse. And I looked at him and I said, "Are you really giving my daughter's hearse a ticket?" And he looks at me and he shrugs his shoulders, kind of puts his palms up toward the sky like, "What's a guy to do?" kind of thing. And I said, "She's inside. She died of brain cancer. She's 12 years old and we're about to have her funeral." And he just looked at me and kept writing his ticket and then walked off, ticketed other people too. Come to find out, right, that people were taking the ticket out of the hearse. They were ticked. They pulled the ticket out. And then he came back around, gave her another one. By the end of the funeral, he had ticketed the hearse 3 times.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yes. Welcome,
I knew
Darren.
that there was one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give kudos right now to the folks at Fox 17 because they raised some hell about this. Right,
and it was somebody that was outside that contacted them to let them know. I was actually bummed that Fox 17 wasn't at the funeral. It was indicated to me that they were going to be, and I said that was perfectly fine, and they never came. But they did an amazing remembrance video. If you want to check it out, you can. But somebody who was outside, everybody was really ticked, and they were like, "How are you not so angry?" And I said, "Listen, Samantha has an army of people. Like, this guy just doesn't even know what he just did." And I said, "You give it 24 hours, he's going to be the most hated man in Grand Rapids." And I had no clue that after they posted that video that she would be talked about by almost 92,000 people on Facebook that night. It got up to 92,000. Now, Samantha has been a popular search now on Facebook for 3 months. She's officially recognized by Facebook as a popular search. Team Tiny Dancer, hashtag Team Tiny Dancer, hashtag Team Tiny Dancer forever. Popular searches. Go check it out. You can find out more. But that happened at the funeral. And listen, I don't want to go into everything that happened at the funeral other than to say, we had medieval festival stuff there, Celtic instruments. We ushered her casket down the aisle kind of like they do in very traditional funerals and even at weddings where people stand as you come in, and people did that. It was an organic thing. It was powerful.
Can I jump in real quick? As somebody who was at the funeral, it was myself, Assistant Program Director Mary Harrington, Raina Cook from the Women Lib Show, and Jim Chase. We all sat together, and we've never been to anything like this. And of course, Joe spoke on behalf of Samantha. It was just beautiful.
It was powerful. In fact, there were a lot of people who had to leave during the eulogy and during parts of it.
Jim Chase could not stick around for the end of it. I could just tell that he was upset.
It was emotional.
There.
Oh yeah,
very
people.
Emotional.
Yeah, people approached me afterwards. Some people had to send me messages on Facebook, and I saw them in the crowd, but I didn't see them afterward. And so there were a whole bunch of people there. We had a reception where you had a DJ playing music, her selection of music from not only from the skating rink, so you had kind of these upbeat skating songs, but they were mixed in with songs that, she had a really diverse palette. She had a really diverse palette for music, where she liked a lot of sad music too. She loved Maroon 5, but what's the name of that game? Five Nights at Freddy's. She liked music from Five Nights at Freddy's, but she also loved Tool.
Oh, yeah.
She absolutely loved Tool, and she loved a band called Eyes of 99, and I'll talk more about that later. But we did that, and I sang Happy Birthday to my wife, because let me tell you, and I hope that forever, for the rest of her life, I hope that every birthday that she ever has, that people just literally pour out an overwhelming abundance of love at her, because this funeral took place on her birthday. It will always be bittersweet for the remainder of her life. For the remainder of our lives together, it will be something we will never, ever forget. But it was so many people. The funeral was amazing. In fact, I want to, because I'm not going to talk about what I said in the eulogy literally encapsulated the last 3 weeks of her life. Because I went silent on Facebook. All of the people who were following and sharing our stories all the time, at times it got up to like 800 shares. And you sit there and you say, those last 3 weeks were practically silent. It was a blackout on my wall. And instead, I would just make announcements and let pictures tell the story of what we were doing, because I didn't want to take any time away from the limited amount of time that we had. And looking in hindsight, I'd do the same over again. But I need to call Fred Wood. And in fact, maybe while we're on the air here, maybe somebody can contact him and say, what would it take to get the rights to the video? Because they recorded it. We paid for them to record it. And if we would be able to share it on Facebook so that it wouldn't be monetized, right? Not on YouTube where it could possibly be monetized, but to go ahead and share it in that way. Because for every one person that made it, it's fair to say an estimate of about 25 people who could not.
Yeah, and you gave me a copy of it that I have right here in the studio. So.
Right, so if we get permission from Pastor Fred Wood, it should be, come on, we gotta work with this, because we gotta get that out there. It was such a beautiful thing. And then the great fog set in. When everything settled and people went home, the great fog, and that was a month long, where old Papa Bear here was real sad, where days blurred together, where emotions were so thick and so deep you could cut it with a knife. Days would go by where you don't even know if you showered. You don't know if you've even changed your clothes. And then when you think about it, you say, I think I put on enough weight that I can't even wear the clothes I had. It was sad. And it was lonely. And devastating. And we were looking around the house, and everywhere you look, you see signs and images of her everywhere that bring back these memories that flood your mind and your heart. Everywhere. And so we decided we needed to go on a retreat. And I'm not going to be able to talk about this in this segment, but I have a feeling that once we open up these phone lines, it's going to do pretty good. That's my hope. I hope that I don't even have to talk about any of the other stuff that I've got. I've got stuff about ABC's hit on Milo, Hillary Clinton and her health, Kaepernick and the stuff going on with that. But I would rather not. Let's be real. Okay? Well, I guess I could talk about that. I would rather not. Seriously. So we're going to open up the phone lines here. 616-656-1680. We've already got one we'll get to after the break. Let's wait till after the break.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got William from Indianapolis, fantastic person. So many things. We're going to talk about it all. And listen, I invite you into this experience today. This is a Team Tiny Dancer extravaganza hosted by yours truly of Paleo Radio, 616-656-1680. Tell us your stories. We'll be back right after this.
Love Paleo Radio? Join the club. Support our work by visiting patreon.com/Paleo Radio today.
Back to Eagle and Dragon.
That's my jam right there, baby. I love it. I listen to it on repeat one all the time. This is Jeremiah Bannister, host of PaleoRadio. It's our special Team Tiny Dancer extravaganza. My first time being live since 2013, and I'm loving every second of it already. Listen, we're going to talk after we get some phone calls, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Team Tiny Dancer Forever retreat that took place in North Carolina. It's so many amazing stories to tell you. It's going to be tons of fun. But before we do that, we have actually two people online. We're going to go first to William in Indianapolis. Thank you so much for waiting, William. Welcome to PaleoRadio.
Oh, hey, this is the first time I'm calling the radio show. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, William, which phone app are you using? Android or iPhone?
It's a Galaxy 7.6.
Oh, so it's Android. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what's going on, William? I'm glad you called, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I don't even know how to start. Damn, thinking.
Well, let me say this. Let me help you. William, for those who don't know, William is a friend of mine that goes back a long way. In fact, we go back to Zanga, don't we, bro?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's old school. I think they just make games and apps now, like Farmville or something. I don't know. And so, but Zanga used to be like a blogging community. It was kind of like Facebook. In fact, there's parts of me that likes it better. But he drove up from Indianapolis to be there for Samantha's viewing as well as for her funeral, and he spent the night at our home. He spent actually, 3 nights, I think, at our home?
3 nights.
Yeah, 3 nights. And you saw stuff that not everyone saw, and you were quiet. You were observing everything and just kind of taking it all in and absorbing what you saw. And, a lot of people.
That's very true. One thing was just I just went. I didn't know what I was going to say or what I was going to do. And one thing that I've talked to a lot of people about it, the incident, and one big thing is just that people don't know how to respond to. There's no conventional way to respond to something like this. People don't know how to process it. And a lot of what we talked about was how, we were kind of struggling to find a frame to contextualize it in, I think. Mm-hmm. I recorded the eulogy, so there's a low-quality audio I have. Some people have seen that. I was glad I got to record that. And I was really glad I got to spend time with you.
I am, too. I'm really grateful for the time that we spent. We got to go out to Ming Ten, my favorite all-you-can-eat Chinese place in town, Asian food. It was super-duper delicious, and we got to hang out for that. But just, it was amazing, I think, and I'm so glad. And I told you that while you were here, because that's the first time we'd met face-to-face. We'd never seen each other face-to-face before.
Absolutely.
In fact, kind of sparse conversations, in fact, over a number of years where it wasn't regular conversation. But you were following the story, and you drove up to support us, and you saw so many amazing things and so many amazing people. And you heard a lot of stories. Like you had to have heard over 100 at least stories of people.
Yeah. I want to say one thing. After it was all over and went back home, a lot of what I thought about was this never give up, keep smiling thing. And I started thinking a lot about how basically you place conditions on happiness. And a lot of, kind of the ultimate result of this for me subjectively has been that I've just become sanier and that I don't place as many conditions on how life has to be. That's kind of the fundamental result of the entire interaction for me is I have a less judgmental mind, a less controlling mind, a less need-to-know mind. That's kind of the end result of all this has been increased sanity.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad increased sanity, man. That's always a great thing in life. You always want that, right? So, but hey, I'm grateful that you called. Thank you so much, William. You know what? I anticipate speaking with you again soon. We got to get together, my friend.
Absolutely.
Absolutely must. And if I'm ever down in Indianapolis again and we're not just driving through, I'm definitely hitting you up. All right?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Thank you for the call. Let's go to the other line here. We've got Kelly listening. Is it in Grand Rapids?
Yeah.
Are you there, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're on the air, buddy.
How's it going, Jeremiah?
It's Kelly Totten. I'm doing wonderfully, man. I'm doing fantastic. I'm at the top of my game here.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to bring up a topic. You and I had a little text conversation about this, and it's about fatherhood. Mm-hmm. And how in particular, I have a question for you. How do you feel right now after your sabbatical with your kids and your abilities as dad? Because you are a super dad, and you know you're a super dad, and everybody knows you're a super dad. You do things that make the rest of us look like chumps.
Well, I'm inspired by people like you. And, in fact, that's something that people who followed the story, they may have caught on to, because I used the phrase redwood tree a number of times, that I had to invoke the strength of a redwood. And I used that. And later, I kind of changed it, and it became like a redwood palm tree, and I called it a red palm. And now I'm just calling it a sequoian palm. That's what I am. I'm a sequoian palm, but you're the one who, the very first night, in fact, it was before I even went to the hospital, if I remember correctly, and we were upstairs in the attic, and I'm playing guitar, and you're talking to me, and we're talking about this, and you told me that I needed to be a redwood, and I took that to heart, man. You know, I knew that I had to be strong for my family. I had to be strong for myself, for my wife, for Samantha, and for the other children. I have 3 other children. They're here with me right now. We have Athanasius, Ambrose, and Teresa, 9, 7, and 6. And it's their older sister. And I knew that it was so powerful what you said to me as a dad to a dad, right? Not just a friend to a friend, but a dad to a dad. And right now, in my life, at this very moment, I very much feel like a sequoian palm with the wind rustling between the leaves. I do. And I feel, after leaving the retreat in North Carolina, feeling a new sense of resolve, a new sense of compassion, in fact, a new sense of forgiveness, you know, a new sense of determination and everything else to say, I have to push forward too. I'm allowed to cry, Kelly, but at the same time, that slogan of never give up, keep on smiling, you know, I hear people say it all the time. They say, well, if she can do it and she's going through that, then I know that I can too. And I say, that applies to me all the same, even in her death, especially in her death. So I hope that answers the question as to how I'm doing right now as a dad.
Yes, it does. It does. I'm excited to see what's going to come with Team Tiny Dancer Forever in the future, and hopefully you are working and putting your thoughts down on paper for this book, Jeremiah.
Oh yeah, you better believe it. I don't know if I've ever been more hardcore about something in my life, right? You know, ever. I am so determined that this is going to happen. It'll be my first book ever too, so I'm kind of excited about that as well. I always had a hard time writing because I never felt that I was writing about something I love. And yet, here we are with this, and there's maybe nothing I love more, in fact, than Team Tiny Dancer Forever, talking about Samantha and my family. And so we're doing that. We got to get together soon. We got to get to another phone call, but we have to get together, you and I, and do some roller skating, my friend. I got to cut off about 10 pounds.
Well, hold on one second. I've got Mark Johnson here. He wants to say something to you really quick.
Okay, wonderful, yeah.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Hey, Mark, welcome to Paleo Radio.
Thank you. Hey, question for you. Me and Kelly had brought this up when we were sitting here discussing when you first came on the air. Have you ever thought about going and doing a Facebook live feed while you do your show?
I've thought about it, and in fact, Joe and I have talked about doing Periscope for behind the scenes, and that it would be additional footage. Hey, you know what? Great minds think alike, my friend, and we're birds of a feather. And so you're ahead of the game on this. I haven't announced it yet. Well, I guess I just did. you pushed my hand, Mark, and I had to just let the cat out of the bag. But there's a good possibility that Paleo Radio is going to start posting live stuff with Periscope, and I would like to do it myself as well, just talking about Team Tiny Dancer, talking about Paleo Radio, about news and politics and religion. So it's all kind of in the mix, all right?
All right. Well, we're going to let you get to another caller. We're going to continue to listen. And,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for the phone call, Mark. Yep. Bye. All right. Welcome to Paleo Radio.
We got we got Melanie from West Virginia.
Melanie from West Virginia, you are on Paleo Radio. Are you there?
Hi, Jeremiah.
Well, hello, Melanie Rice. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing better, even better now that you called. I'm so excited to hear from you.
I'm glad to hear your voice too.
Yeah. So what are you calling about today? Obviously, it's about Team Tiny Dancer. And again, anyone following the Facebook, you're going to see Melanie a lot. She makes a lot of memes. She's made a lot of these pictures that are going around. People have made them their profile pictures, their banners on top of their wall. And so she makes really, really awesome ones all the time. So you may see her a lot. But you called today. Is there something you'd like to say about Team Tiny Dancer and Samantha?
Well, actually, I have my Zoe here with me. She wanted me to tell you hi. My little Zoe.
Yes, hello.
He said hello. I just want people to know how amazingly wonderful you guys are, how amazingly wonderful Sammy, just even her legacy is going to be beyond anything anybody can even imagine at all. I know that you are getting ready to do a whole lot of good stuff. I'm so excited about. I don't even honestly know what to get into other than the fact that she is just truly an inspiration. Speechless, I guess, is more than anything, and that's probably the worst thing to do, to call into a radio station and be speechless.
No, you're fine. If you went speechless and it was dead air, that would be the worst. But if you say speechless, hey, you're totally fine with me.
Yeah.
And you know what? And you're not alone. There's a lot of people who use that term, right? To say, listen, I don't have the words. I'm speechless as to how Samantha has lived and how she's impacted people's lives. And I know you followed over this time. I don't know how you first stumbled on the story, but I know you followed. And so I'm just really grateful, and I was bummed that you were unable to make it to the Team Tiny Dancer Forever Retreat.
I know, me too.
Yes, my heart was broken, totally shattered. But I'm grateful that your husband's thumb, which was also shattered, is doing better. And so
yes, much better.
Yeah, our hearts and our love go out to you and your husband. We love you guys so much. I know that we'll be talking a lot in the future. So I'm really grateful that you took the time to call.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. If you would like to call in and talk about Samantha, to talk about Team Tiny Dancer and how it's impacted your life, the number is 616-656-1680. Once again, 616-656-1680. We'll be right back right after this.
And we also have Brian from Battle Creek on line 3. Stick around. We'll get to you right after the break.
Now back to Joe and Jeremiah.
You know, I've been trying to get to this whole Team Tiny Dancer Forever Retreat portion of the show, but the phones are just going off the charts. Every time somebody hangs up, bing, 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 the red light goes flicking. And we all know what that means. You can give us a call, 616-656-1680. And listen, if you can't make it through, I implore you, don't stop trying. Right? Try tooth and nail. Make it your mission today to get on this show. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Remember, you can listen on your radio, AM 1680 and 95.3 FM in Grand Rapids, 90.1 FM in Allegan County, up and down the Lake Michigan shoreline, Pontiac, Illinois at WPJC FM 88.3, streaming at publicrealityradio.org. You can listen on your phone. You can download the apps by going to publicrealityradio.org/mobile. And a reminder, if you're listening on your iPad, you cannot listen through your browser. You have to download the iPhone app. Basically, iPad is a big iPhone. So if you get the error message, that's why you need to download the app.
Okay, we're going to go to the line right now. Brian, you're on line 1. Welcome to Paleo Radio, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. I'm glad to be on the air.
Yeah, yeah. Is this the first time you've called the show?
This is the second time I've called the show.
It's the second time you've called the show. Well,
The first time was for another tragedy in our life when our friend Scott passed.
Ah, yes, when Scott Farley, that's crazy. Yes, I did that episode, and that one went a long time. A lot of people called, and we talked about that, and that was kind of a similar situation. He was a powerful, big-hearted man. He impacted tons of people, and he died way too young. So what's going on, my friend?
Not a whole lot, man. Life's pretty good right now. Life's pretty good. But, I want to just say, I want to talk about Sammy for a minute. And she, in my mind, cancer didn't beat Sammy. Sammy beat cancer because of the life she lived while she was battling her disease. The things she did, the people she impacted, including myself and my family.
Yeah, actually, I think that your wife, if I remember, she actually posted something, and I guess I can read it real quick. She said, it was on Facebook, and if you'd like to post something about Samantha, feel free to go facebook.com/Jeremiah.Bannister, and it's easy to find me. But Cherie Parker, she said, Sammy taught me so much. I don't think I will ever be able to fully understand how much she taught me. I've learned to forgive without being asked, love no matter what, to face every challenge with a smile, and of course, to never give up. And she even talked about the way that she's impacted the family, the child. And so I know that Sammy's been a huge part of your life. And I'll tell you, because I know this little tidbit, Brian and his family, his wife, and his wife's grandma, if I remember correctly, made a blanket for Samantha. Yeah. And it is absolutely awesome. It is totally awesome. And it is officially the favorite blanket of the Bannister family household. And I slept with it last night. I literally sleep with it every night. It not only reminds me of Sam, but it reminds me of the kind of love that people had for her. And that always helps me to sleep real well.
And I've known Sammy since she was a little baby. And with what I'm going through some stuff myself right now. And I have to remind myself every day, and I think of Sammy, and I think, never give up. Keep moving on. Keep smiling. And she was an amazing person and will forever be in my heart, in my mind, and in pretty much everything we do every day.
Well, I appreciate it, and I don't know if I could have said it better myself. I'm grateful for the phone call. We're going to get to the next call, but I love you so much.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, one more.
The song that was sang at Sammy's funeral at the end, Out to My Company, my daughter listens to that song almost every day, numerous times, and it's been a huge help for our family and all of this.
It's powerful. And the song he's talking about was sung by a friend of ours at the Medieval Festival. She's with the Viking group, and she's now head of security and everything there. She's operatically trained from Michigan State University, and she sang that. And people dressed up from the Medieval Festival from Black Rock, they all walked to the front, and they raised their glasses high and sang this very beautiful and powerful song together. And then at the end, they screamed out for her, Kazaa, 3 times, thrice. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Brian, for the phone call.
And thank you.
Okay, line 2, we're going to Joey. What's up, Joey?
Well, hello, dear. How are you?
Oh my gosh, this is classic Paleo Radio. This is a throwback, everybody, to when Paleo Radio was being aired from WOCR in Olivet, the campus station of Olivet College, and you would call, and I loved it every time. You always brightened my evening.
Oh, well, you brighten mine every time, dude. Thanks.
Yeah, thank
Angela, I'm so sorry if you're listening, honey. I love you, too.
So what's going on?
Well, I'm calling to share my favorite memories. When we came up there, speaking of the college days, to visit you, and I actually met Sammy for the first time, and the first thing this child does is try to feed me. I swear, I'm Greek, so I'm used to it, but this is a sweet little girl. Do I look like I'm hungry? Okay. But that was always the way she was, and even as recent as last year when she met Murphy, my dog Murphy, who's famous, and we would send videos, and she loved animals. I think in that way, her and I resonated very well. It was I don't know. The whole process has been eye-opening for me, just listening to what you have to say about your experiences. I think, and I was explaining this to my husband this morning, I think the difference between hearing it from you and hearing, any other story you would hear, unfortunately, from a parent that's lost a child, is that you are a journalist. And the telling of her death comes out in your voice and in your skill of telling the story. You tell the nitty gritty. You don't hold anything back. Whereas, most people don't know what that is. Most people don't get to hear that. And, I really felt like I was there with you when you told the story of her passing. And I'm hoping that with the book you're going to do, that, the story of her life is as vivid. I really do.
Well, I appreciate it. And, I said during the eulogy, and I know you weren't able to make it to the funeral, but we're going to watch it together, okay? Because I have it on this DVD, and I'm hoping to share it. But if I can't share it, we're going to watch it together anyway. We're going to have a fun time. But I said, I knew nothing about cancer, and I still know very little. I mean, cancer is a really complex thing. I mean, people don't realize just how complex it really is. But I said, I don't know much about that, and I have limited powers. I'm not a superhero. I don't have magical skills, that can make cancer go away. But I am a writer. I'm a storyteller. I'm a public speaker. I've worked with TV and with radio, and I know how to edit stuff. And I take pictures. I take pretty decent ones. I'm an honorary member of a photo club in South Korea because they love my pictures. And so
he's so humble too.
Yeah, I do. I wear it on my sleeve. Listen, I'm so humble that I got the most humble student of the year award at school, and they took it back the next day because I wore the ribbon. But it's just true. That happens in my life. But I knew that I could do that. And I knew that I wanted to because I was so broken and so scared and so lost and so helpless that I felt like putting myself out there in a very vulnerable way, making these paleocrat diaries is what I was calling them, and saying, I'm just putting myself out there and I'm telling the story of Samantha and of our family from my vantage point. And I'll tell you, I loved doing it. I love the idea of the book. I've got like 15 to 20 stories that have never been published before. So some of it's going to be a little controversial. It's gonna.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah. It's gonna be a book. What do I call it? It's a scrapbook that's a photo album that's a story.
Yeah, and it'll be an excursion.
It'll be an excursion. So I'm so grateful that you took the time to call. I've said this to a couple other people, but it's been a long time since we've gotten together. We need to do it. We need to get together.
I wanted you to know that, I was listening and I'm here. And, if you guys need anything, you can, yell down here at us downstate people.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
I have fun with all of, joking around about things. But in all seriousness, I mean, the idea of the book, it's powerful because there are literally thousands and thousands of people who have been impacted by her life. And we documented her life. We did it with picture. We did it with video. We did it with stories that I would tell, these kind of very personal blog posts that I would share with individuals, inviting them into our lives, inviting them into our hearts, into our family. And a lot of people have walked away with that and used terms like movement. I never used that term. Community. I never used it. Family. I did use that one. But the way that people have embraced this, the way that they've identified with her and with us, and the way that it's impacted them to be better people every single day, it's a powerful thing. And to detail not only the stories, the ones that I write, but to have pictures. To have pictures of her experiences in the hospital or on her Make-A-Wish trip to London and to Cardiff and Wales to see the Doctor Who experienced, her trip to Reason Rally in Washington, D.C., where she got to meet Seth Andrews and David Smalley, Bobby C., Gregory and John, and a whole bunch of the people that went to the Team Tiny Dancer Forever retreat, which I still have not been able to get to. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to in this show. It may be something that I have to Periscope, and I'll give credit to Mark for kind of sparking that there under my tail to get me moving on it. But all of the different things that she did, as well as to include her transcripts from her speeches entitled God and Cancer, the Team Tiny Dancer story that she delivered at Center for Inquiry, Michigan, and Harbor Universalist Unitarian Church in Muskegon, and Secular Student Alliance at Ferris State University in Big Rapids. She traveled around where we spoke at the annual Interfaith event hosted by the Kaufman Interfaith Institute with GVSU, and this year it was over at Trinity United Methodist, 450 people, and there's Samantha speaking. Those transcripts are going to be made available in the book. Her art, her handwritten stuff, talking about life and love and God. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be something that you're not going to read through it in a day. Let's put it that way. It will be a very, very hard day for you if you try, and it's going to come with a complimentary bag of tissues, a little box of tissues. I guess I've never seen them really come in a bag, but it'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be beautiful and powerful and inspirational. And so I'm looking forward to doing that and to being able to invest in myself. And someone asked me, they said, as an unbeliever, they said, how do you feel, Sammy, around you? And I said, with all of the things that we do, with all of the pictures and the art and the photos, including, by the way, a signed picture by Sir Elton John in the office, right, as well as a huge shield from the Medieval Festival from BlackRock with her owl on it that says Princess Sammy and has tons of signatures on the back. To live in a place that where you're surrounded by this. Yes, of course. I feel her every day. I do. Even as an unbeliever, I can say that. And so I'm excited at the idea of moving forward with this book and telling these new stories and adding to older ones. I'm excited about it, as well as including things that people say about Samantha. And so I encourage you, again, I've encouraged you throughout the show, go to facebook.com/jeremiah.bannister and feel free to send it as a message. Or if you would like, and this might actually be even cooler, you can go ahead and send it to teamtinydancer@gmail.com. That's the place we go to for everything that is uber important for Team Tiny Dancer Forever. We're coming down here in the last 15 minutes of the show. And so we're winding everything down. But if you would like to call, we've already got a couple more people on the line. If you would like to call, give us a ring here at 616-656-1680. Again, one more time, 616-656-1680. This is Jeremiah Bannister, creator and co-host of PaleoRadio, filling in while Joe is gone at Isle Royale. I hope he's having tons of fun. We are here, and we'll be right back.
For debates, interviews, or speeches, contact PaleoRadio at gmail.com.
You love to hate 'em, you hate to love 'em. You just can't get enough of 'em, you sick freaks. Paleo Radio's on the air.
Gotta love Paleo Radio's mariachi band. Wish we had it live in here. That might not be mariachi. I don't think it's mariachi music, but it's got, I don't want to take too much time before we get to these calls because we're running out of time. There's a possibility. Listen, folks, if you're tuned in right now and you'd like another half an hour, right, a half an hour of Paleo Radio, I'm open to it. And we've gotten word from the manager of the station that we would be permitted to do an extra half an hour.
Absolutely.
If it goes this long, because we've had a lot of people call. And we're not going to discourage anyone. And we encourage people, 616-656-1680. And if we have the extra half an hour, I might be able to actually talk a little bit about the retreat. Everybody, I've been threatening to do this now, to talk about this retreat since the beginning of the show, I think toward the end of the monologue in the first segment. And so, once again, 616-656-1680 if you'd like to talk about Samantha or Team Tiny Dancer or Paleo Radio. That's the show. So go ahead and do that. All right, let's go to are we going to line 3?
Yes.
Okay, line 3, Greg from North Carolina. What's up, my man?
What's up, J-Bands with the Ray Band?
How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. You're on with Greg and Jillian, and I was just dropping in to say hello.
Well, and let me say this. It's an honor, number one. This is the first time you've ever called the show when I was hosting, okay? But you and Jillian are the two that hosted the Team Tiny Dancer Forever Retreat in your home.
That is correct.
Yeah, and you made delicious food. It's the first time in my life that I've ever seen steaks that big for that price. It's like, what, $17 for these two massive steaks? They were like 30-ounce steaks. I mean, you basically, brought the cows on by and just took off a slab. And so we had those, and you made for us, for the first time I've ever eaten it in my entire life, tuna steaks.
That's right. Seared to perfection, my friend.
It was. You are a master of the grill, aren't you?
I guess I am. But hey, I just wanted to drop in. Hey, I know Bobby C's been trying to get through, so hopefully if you go an extra half hour, he'll get a chance to hop on. I know he's listening, so let's give him a quick shout out.
Oh yeah, and Bobby C, for those who don't know, Bobby C is the host on a Secular Media Group of two different shows. Actually, he's with two different shows: No Religion Required and Hope After Faith with Jerry DeWitt. And so, two fantastic shows. And definitely love that guy to pieces. And he played a pretty critical role toward the end with Samantha, in fact. And I'll talk to him about that. But yes, definitely a shout out. But listen, it was so fantastic, Greg. It was so fantastic being able to go down to your home. And you have a beautiful place, by the way, not far from the beach over at the Atlantic Ocean there. And we spent some time out there, playing with seashells, and we're going to share some pictures of that. And we have a ton of pictures from the event, but it's all in the event page. We didn't make them public. But I'll tell you, I've appreciated our friendship since November or December.
Not even that long ago. We first met at the Reason Rally, and you're like my brother, my man.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, same here. That's my heart for you. And Jillian, listen, I can say this, and it's no affront to anybody else because everybody knows of the profound love we have for them. But Jillian was the kids' favorite. I'm serious, man. I was asking them, what they liked about it, and she just really struck a chord with them. They really, really loved hanging out with her. They said she was so nice, and she was always she had a big smile, and she was very playful, and she liked to play video games with them, and it means a lot to me, because it's easy for people to get so wrapped up into Samantha or so wrapped up into the concept of Team Tiny Dancer and what it's for, that oftentimes it's kind of like missing the forest for the trees, and you forget that you have 3 young children who literally watched their sister die. And to see the things that they've saw, to feel the things that they've felt, dramatic, right? Profound, traumatic. And to get them out in a way into a place where they can simply be kids, where they can play video games and have fun. It was so essential. Without it, I wouldn't be feeling so good right now. Right? That's just a fact.
And hey, the kids had a great time it was so much fun to kick back and watch the kids out on the beach. And your listeners might want to hear, they may have already seen it on Facebook. I think some of us shared it. But while Jeremiah was being a space cadet on North Topsail Island, walking around looking for seashells, he didn't even notice about 6 or 8 of us collecting probably in the thousands of seashells. And we spelled out in big letters, Team Tiny Dancer Forever with the hashtag. And it's just a cool thing. If you weren't there, it was just so much fun. And he had no idea the entire time what we were doing. He was watching us all running around collecting these things. but in his own zone. Isn't that right, JB?
I was in his zone, my friend. Well, listen, I love you. I'm going to get to Bobby actually before the top of the hour, but I love you like crazy. I know that we'll talk on the other side, all right?
That's right. Thanks for having me.
Yep, thank you. All right, Bobby C., are you there, my friend?
Brother Paleo, how you doing, brother?
Hey, brother, I'm doing fantastic. I'm sitting here enjoying myself. Joe's up north doing fantastical things with his friend in a beautiful place called Isle Royale, and I'm holding down the fort. So how are you?
And, brother, you're doing a fine job holding down that fort, too, let me tell you.
No, I love this. Yeah, this is my habitat, man. It really is. I'm in my element.
I understand, brother, I understand. Listen, I wanted to take a moment, man, and just call in and let you know just how much Ashley and I love you and the Bannister family and how much support we have for you guys. It was such an honor to be a part of the retreat that we had and get a chance to sit down and just get that, if I can use a Christian word, fellowship, you know, with other people that loved Sammy just as much, if not more than we did. Mm-hmm. And it was just great to be a part of it, man. Thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of that.
Well, I'll tell you, listen, let me say this while you're on the air. There was, leading up to Samantha's death, okay, and even before our decision, let's go back, before our decision to bring her home, because she was kind of in a coma type state there, and but before that happened, when she was still lucid, I had received word that you were diagnosed with cancer.
Yes.
And it's in your finger. And they had to remove a portion of your finger, and I got to see that when we were down there. And you're doing a good job. You are, okay? You're a strong man. But you didn't want to make it public because of all the stuff we were going through. You didn't want to take attention away. And as I'm on the phone, I heard this, and I'm kind of talking, and Samantha's hearing my side of the conversation. She sits up from the bed that she's in with this look on her face, just totally devastated. And I said, "Do you want to call Bobby?" And she said, "Yes." And I will never forget that phone call, Bobby. For the rest of my life.
Neither will I, man.
Never. I will never forget it.
I can tell you that neither will I. I will always remember that phone call until the day I die. And I'll never forget the sweet final words of Samantha to me was when she told me that I had her heart. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you what that meant to me.
Well,
that's just, I can't even put into words the feelings that was going through me at the time. I had just gotten my bad news. And here's sweet Samantha going through far more than I could ever dream to go through. And she thought enough of me to call me and tell me she loved me. And that meant the world to me.
All right. Well, hey, we're up at the top of the hour.
Hang on a second.
Yeah. Hold on.
Do you want to do overtime? Go another half hour?
Yeah, I'm going to go another half an hour. So, but listen, I love you like crazy, my friend. I'm so grateful that you called. We're on for another half an hour, everybody. It is the Team Tiny Dancer extravaganza. If you want to be part of it, it's huge.
Do you want me to put Bobby on hold and we'll bring him on after the top of the hour ID?
Nope. Okay. That's all right. Hey, listen, I love you like crazy, Bobby. It's been a whole bunch of fun. If you would like to join in on the conversation, 616-656-1680.
You've been listening to Paleo Radio, exclusively with Secular Media Group.
All right, we are back. We're going to do a overtime here for Paleo Radio today. We're going to continue taking phone calls, 616-656-1680. At 3:30, we will join the David Packman Show in progress. If you want to listen to the full episode, it will air at its regular time, Monday at 3 p.m. right here on WPRR and WPJC.
Super exciting. You're listening to Paleo Radio. I am the creator and co-host of the program, Jeremiah Bannister, the original Paleocrat. And Joe Elder, he's the other co-host of the show, my man, my bestie, and he is up north enjoying the good life. And that's one of the things that we love most about this program and why we do it the way we do is because we enjoy the lives that we live. We enjoy the things that we do. He likes to spend a lot of time in nature, for example. He likes to get out and get away and just kind of unplug and escape from everything. And he's able to do that this weekend with his friend. And so I said, well, hey, why not simply go live? Why not do it? I haven't done it since 2013, and I think we're doing excellent so far. We've had a lot of callers, 616-656-1680. And listen, Albany from Colorado, she was going to call the program, and actually somebody should probably notify her that we're doing an overtime here of a half an hour by popular demand. And so she's welcome to call in if she would like to, because she wrote something for me to read. But I'm looking at it and I said, man, that's a lot. I said, that's powerful. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just literally like, so Albany, if you're listening to this right now, I encourage you to call. You definitely have time. That number, 616-656-1680. If you would like to read what she wrote, you can go to my Facebook page at facebook.com/Jeremiah.Bannister. And if you're interested in learning more about Team Tiny Dancer, the topic we're talking about and dedicating the show to today, I encourage you, go on Facebook, check it out. It's a popular search. Hashtag Team Tiny Dancer. Let's go right now to Cherie and Annabelle in Battle Creek. They're listening on a phone app. How are you today?
Hi.
Well, hello. How are you?
I'm doing good.
You know what? You are the youngest caller that I've ever had in all of my life, and I am so proud of how brave you are to call the show.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Is there something that you would like to say, Annabelle?
I was thinking about Sammy.
Oh, you know, we all miss Sammy so much, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom, I have an owl just to remind me of Sammy.
Oh, you have an owl to remind you of Sammy?
Uh-huh.
Well,
and it's a zip.
Oh, my gosh. That was her favorite animal. She loved owls so much. And she has a special owl that people have made. And in fact, some people are going to get tattoos of the owl. And I'm going to be one of them, and so is my wife. She's going to get it. But it's a really, really, really cute one, and it's really pretty. And so I'm so happy that you have an owl, and that owl helps you to remember Samantha.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right. Well,
bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you so much for that phone call. I'm serious. That's the youngest person that I've ever talked to on live radio in my life.
Oh, wow.
Not the most immature, though. I've dealt with more immature adults in my life. You did a really good job, Annabelle.
And I'm probably the most immature one that you've talked to on the radio, so...
Well, I'll tell you, I've dealt with some real crazies, and I don't classify you. You are a little crazy. You have to be in this business, though, right? I mean,
I'm crazy about this business.
You're crazy about this business, and you're doing a fantastic job with the station. I've told you that many a times. I mean, that's a theme, in fact, when I talk to you, is that the way that you've led the station. I mean, you're at the helm here, and you've just done such a great job guiding it and leading it in really fantastic directions. And people, if they don't know a lot about this station, I encourage them, go to the website, go to publicrealityradio.org, look at the different shows and the kind of local talent. That's the thing. You have people in this town that take time out of their days and out of their nights to come down here and to do shows about stuff that they love and to try their best to really sharpen their skills and their craft as talkers, as communicators on this medium. And it is a really powerful thing that you do, and I'm always gracious. I'm always grateful for that.
One of the things that people describe radio hosts as either personalities or talent. Somebody can be a personality and really not have talent. I have to say that the people that do shows on this station are some of the most talented people in this area. That's everybody that hosts a show on the station, whether it's you and Joe Whether it's Tyrone from Drive for the Dream, Nate Malachi and Ed Kettle from the Boiling Kettles, of course, Fred Wooden. So Fred's such a great orator, and he did such a great job at Sammy's funeral. The ladies of Women Libs, Bryn Perkins, Raina Cook, Mary Harrington. I mean, Lauren's been such a blessing to have joined this station and joined pretty much just on a fluke. We'll have to tell that story one of these days.
Yeah, and I'm grateful that you're here, by the way, Lauren. Totally, 100%.
Always.
You're
always
on.
glad to be here. Definitely, to say the very least.
You're keeping things rolling smoothly.
I do my best.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does a great job here. And like I said, it's just an absolute luck of the draw that she came to WPRR.
I feel the same, man.
Well, listen, we've got about 23 minutes left of this show, and I'm really grateful that you've allowed Paleo Radio to have an overtime here.
Of course.
And to cut into ordinarily scheduled programming in order to do this. It's a special edition of Paleo Radio, and you should follow Paleo Radio on Facebook. You can find it at facebook.com/Paleo Radio, and it has nothing to do with the diet, although that may be something I should consider. And so, yeah, and just kind of combine the brands there. But if you would like to be part of the conversation, if you'd like to tell a story about having met Samantha or having met our family or how the stories and the pictures and the videos and everything impacted your life, please give us a call, 616-656-1680. But let me say this. Since about an hour ago, I told people that I was going to say something about this retreat. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, and now the floor is mine for the moment. For the moment. And I've got political stuff up my sleeve too, as I said. I mean, we could talk about whether or not people should stand during the national anthem. We could talk about Hillary and Trump and their questionable health. We could talk about Milo and the hit piece ABC did on him. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you could talk about. That'd be a whole bunch of fun. But the retreat, I think, is a good thing. And so the Team Tiny Dancer Forever retreat, we decided that we were going to go to North Carolina. We just, honest to goodness, we just needed to get out of the house. I mean, I'd been in the office. It's now my office, but it was the room wherein Samantha breathed her last. And in fact, my chair is situated where her head and her heart would have been. And being in that room, as powerful as it is, it's also draining. Especially after she died, within the weeks following that. And we needed to get out. All of us did. Right? We were losing our minds. But we also had this idea. And we said, how can we best preserve and advance the legacy of Samantha's life and her ideas? Her life had a profound impact on people. The way that they lived, the stories that they told, I can't even begin to tell you. We had a guy earlier named William from Indianapolis. He called and he silently watched as hundreds of people came into our home over a span of about 3 days or so. And he witnessed and saw it. And he asked me about it. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with people laying bare to you their hearts and their minds and their lives and driving? For example, we have some really amazing friends that we met, the Coopers, and they came from Colorado. They drove from Colorado to be there. And they said things like, Samantha saved our marriage. And it's true. It really happened. You had people, young people who were going through dangerous surgeries that they could die just from undergoing. And the doctors, as they're laying down on the bed about to, be put under in order to not be awake while it's happening, the doctor says there's something that you can watch, something that you could listen to that might help. And they would say, I want to see a Facebook page. Can you please go to a Facebook page? I need to see a girl. I need to see her face. People who every single day would go and try to see something hopeful. I mean, they're swimming, they're drowning in this world of sadness, of grief, of frustration over politics, distrust of the news and religious authorities or any institutional authorities. And getting to this place where they're just so bummed out they may not have a job. There was a person who was homeless, didn't even have a job, nowhere to stay, but he would go to the public library and he'd get on Facebook at the public library. And he said that he stumbled on this story of this girl that simply refused to ever give up, that she refused to ever stop smiling. It's real. Person after person after person. And I said, that is a legacy. She used to always say, I feel like a celebrity. People make me feel like one. And I used to say, and to some extent I was right at the time, not so much as later, but early on I said, because you are. And the truth is, she really is. She's a powerful figure. So how do we preserve it? How do we advance it? What can we do? So we decided to go down to North Carolina. And we drove down there. Now let me tell you, West Virginia and Virginia, you kind of suck a little bit. Not going to lie. Your radio's garbage. It is garbage. I guess I never realized how fortunate we are in Michigan. You know, and I presume that Detroit has something to do with that and the history of how things developed. But we actually have radio stations on FM and AM, and you go there, and it's just fuzz after fuzz after fuzz. It's one of those things you push scan on the van, you know, on the radio, and it just goes to the next fuzzy thing. And you're like, that's not even a station. What is this? Why do you do this to us? It's driving Angela nuts. You know, I mean, it was terrible.
Oh, some of the, man, when I was in Kentucky a few months ago, some of the radio stations just have the weirdest names. Like, I don't know, Bull 102 and Lamb 98 or what? It just
all sorts
craziness.
Of craziness. You know, now I will give this to Charleston. You have the best coffee maybe in America. You have a place called Moxie. Okay, delicious. But people drove from Ohio and Georgia to be there. One couple flew from New York. Right, there was a couple from West Virginia that they couldn't make it, but they teleconferenced in David Smalley and Brandy Madden of Dogma Debate. Right, secular media group and public reality radio stuff. They're in Texas. They weren't able to make it, but they ended up calling us and did a video conference with us. And we talked about the book that I'm working on. You know, and all the stuff that I mentioned earlier in the program. You know, we watched the people there. We watched a video. We watched her funeral on DVD. The video that we watched is a very private one. It's one of me carrying her out after she had died and carrying her from where she was laying to the middle of the street early in the morning where she would be put into a hearse. It's the most powerful and painful video that I've ever seen in my life. And everybody, it's a consensus, but it's private. We discussed things that are left to come. We talked about general things, stuff to do with philosophy, computer programming, SJWs and the state of the secular movement. We talked about all this stuff. And it was amazing and profound. All right. There's more left to say about that, but I want to go real quickly to Albany in Colorado. Yes, you are. I am so happy that you called.
We've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
I have had a crazy morning here, but I'm glad I was able to.
Yeah, so what's on your mind, Albany? You actually wrote something. I said that I wanted to read it over the air, but then I looked at it and I said, that'd be a lot of reading. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. So I was like, you just call and let us know what you would like to say.
Really, to summarize what I put down, it was just about how so many relationships that we have in our lives, it's a two-way street of someone talks, and then when they're done, you get to talk, and you both get to go back and forth. And so many of us, like myself, who have never met you guys, never met Sammy, we didn't have that kind of relationship. It was just, we just listened. And to me, that was always so profound because it makes you have to get out of yourself. You have to step away from who you are and just listen to someone else's life and what they're going through. And you meet so many people throughout your life, whether it's someone on a bus and, you know, you remember your conversation, or a longtime friend and you may not talk anymore, but you remember what they had to say. But you were always part of the conversation. It was Sammy.
and with all of you, the whole family. I outside of commenting, I just got to listen and watch and do my best to feel what you all were feeling, even though I couldn't fully comprehend it. And, you know, Samantha and all of you, you guys helped me grow as a human, as a friend, as a wife, as a mother especially, in ways that I don't think anyone else could have taught me or shown me or given me the ability to open that part of me. Sammy changed so many lives, and your whole family did.
Thank
you. Even now, you know, I'll be doing something with my kids or just by myself, and she'll just come into my mind, and I'll go over all the different things. Or I think the most profound thing, though, about Sammy was that she could change an entire point of view with one sentence.
Mm-hmm.
That was, from what I was able to collect from just, you know, being as far away as I am and not meeting you guys, it was that. So few people, they have to, myself included, I have to use so many words to get my point across, and she could do it in 3.
She was a powerful person. She was profound. Even in her simplicity, she was just so profound. And I'm looking forward to sharing, this is the last thing I'll say because we have another caller. And I'm grateful, by the way. I'm super duper duper grateful that you took the time to call. You don't even know. But we have video footage of her speaking in a couple different places, and I'm kind of working on it now. I want to share it in different parts, even if it's a highlighted thing, and then have a full version, that can be made available as well. But you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. It's her speech about God and cancer, the Team Tiny Dancer story. And she has a whole bunch of these sentences that she put together that are just, she's a powerful, powerful person, and I know you're going to love it. So thank you so much.
I can't wait.
Thank you so much for all that you've said and for the support over the year and a half. I appreciate it more than you ever know. Okay?
Absolutely. Well, we love you guys, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Okay, thank you so much, Albany. All right, we have Jack. We do not.
Jack dropped off. Jack, if you get a chance to call back, we've got phone lines wide open right now, 616-656-1680.
Okay, well, now that we don't have any calls for the moment, right? Mm-hmm. For the moment, I want to finish talking about what the retreat was like. Okay, so I said that we had a great time in North Carolina, ate delicious food, saw beautiful storms, spent time out on the beach where, we picked up a whole bunch of seashells, and that was just the greatest time. And the way that we connect with people was really powerful and really intimate. And when we left, we were totally bummed, but everybody else was gone too, but we had to leave. And so we're heading up. We decide we're going to head up to Nashville to meet a man who is a very dear friend of ours. We talked for many, many hours about Samantha and about how we're coping with everything. How is it that we are coping? Right? He was astonished and amazed and curious as to how someone going through all of this was able to cope. And we talked for long periods of time. But then he had a medical emergency, almost died. And he's young. He's same age as my wife, 22. Right? Same age.
You better say 22.
I love it. So same age as my wife. In fact, they went to school together. So we decided we're going to go there. And then, as we're driving, we realized that the tire was popped. There was a nail in the tire. So we had to pull over. We didn't get very far that day. And it was pretty late, and we were real tired. So we decided we're going to stop at a Motel 6 because we had our St. Bernard Coco with us. And not many places allow for dogs over 50 pounds. And she's definitely over 50 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so we stayed in a motel and woke up in the morning. And as we're driving around, I'm surrounded by these absolutely stunningly gorgeous buildings. Even the McDonald's. I mean, imagine seeing a McDonald's where it really looks like they have real golden arches made out of real gold. And you're looking at it thinking, goodness, what is this? Here we were in Asheville. And if you don't know what Asheville is, it is gorgeous.
It's the town that Ric Flair built in the 80s. Woo!
Right. And so they have a place there called the Biltmore House. And Biltmore House is the Vanderbilt estate. And Vanderbilt, with the college, with the steel, the railroads, and all of that stuff, has the largest house in the United States, 250 rooms. Okay, we only went through 45 or less. And it was huge. It took hours to go through those and to just see what you had to see. They say it's the modern equivalent of about $100 million. It's on over 8,000 acres of land. Beautifully landscaped. They have an artist, in fact, whose job it was to find the most beautiful portrait, right? The most beautiful landscape that you could possibly find there, from the greatest perspective, and to make that the room of Mr. Vanderbilt. And so you would walk out of the room in the morning, you'd wake up, and you'd walk out on this little porch thing that's kind of up high on the side of this massive castle. And you look out and you can see mountains. You can see these rolling hills. You can see all these different kinds of trees. It was beautiful. Completely, absolutely beautiful. So we spent time there. Got a little drunk on some of the samples from the winery. A little eatsy shiny. Right? Not wasted. But a little bit shiny with that stuff. Powerful, powerful wine, not going to lie. And we made our way up to our friend in Nashville. He has a recording studio. He's a producer of music and stuff for movies. And he does a really good job there, but he almost died, and he's kind of... He's unable to do very much for the next 6 months. So we spent time with him. We enjoyed listening to records. In fact, it was amazing. You go into a guy's house who works as someone with music, and you would just kind of intuitively think that he has CDs all over his house. Oh, no. I don't even know if he has a CD player at all. I think he has 0 CDs in his house. I don't know. I have to confirm it with him. But he has 4 record players. So he has record players in all the different rooms, and he has this massive collection. And my kids just wanted to listen to Beatles albums. He had a really fancy box set of all the Beatles albums. And my son Athanasius really loved it. They got to play games, and they got to dance around. We have some beautiful pictures that we'll share on Facebook. Facebook.com/Jeremiah.Bannister. We're going to share that. We enjoyed French press coffee every day. Don't get to do that too often. We had late night conversations, extremely intimate. Right? Watched the funeral as well with him. He flew up here to be at the funeral, but his brother ended up having a baby. And so he had to be there for his brother and for his brother's wife. But it was intimate. And then when we left, we stayed an extra day with him, and when we left, went to bed in a hotel about 4 hours away, woke up and realized that his house had suffered a fire. And that fire impacted not only his attic, which was a scary thing, people store stuff in attics, but also his bedroom and the room that Angela and I were staying in. We were real fortunate to be out of there, and he's fortunate to have been awake. And our hearts just broke for him. We weren't sure if we were going to go back, and help him out. We didn't know what he needed. And when he made clear that he didn't need any help and that he was going to be fine, right, and that his house was still there and everything else, we decided to move forward. But we'd already delayed ourselves into the day. And so we ended up taking kind of a little side trip. And we spent time with Jenica and Patrick Crail and their family. People who follow... are part of the secular movement who follow this show and our interviews on Dogma Debate. They would know Jenica because Jenica is the head person over there for Dogma Debate's social media. And her husband is a master of photographic arts and being able to, do even animations and stuff. They're very, very talented people, very hard-working people. And we got to spend time with them. And it was just tons and tons of fun. And we spent about, a day and a half, almost 2 days with them. I think 2 nights. And just had a great time. Talked about, Samantha talked about Team Tiny Dancer. Talked about our deconversions, why we're not religious anymore. We talked about life, marriage, friendship, work. Things that made my family feel very whole again. And then we decided to leave, and we were on our way home, and we didn't stay anywhere else. We just made it all the way home. And as we're driving, we just came to the conclusion that all of this was so beautiful and so powerful. Going back to the beginning of the show, the month leading up to Samantha's death, the week following with the visitation, with the funeral, with the burial that took place, and everything else, all the way to the great fog, that month of time that was so painful and so dramatic. And then to make that trip and to enjoy, 10, 12 days with people. All of this stuff put together, smashed together. We needed it. We needed it. And the impact that it had was rejuvenating. I said, I feel like I'm coming out of this with a great sense of resolve. It's what I told one of the callers earlier, Kelly. I said, there's a great sense of resolve to move forward, to have a mission and a purpose, to be a man and a family on fire. And to know, you know what? Yes, it sucks. It is the worst thing in all of my life that Samantha has died. But just as much as we were committed when she was alive, I'm committed now to the idea of never giving up, to refuse to ever stop smiling, and to try my best with all of my might, everything I've got in my mind, everything I've ever put together and worked for in my life, whether speaking or journalism or TV, doesn't matter, whatever it is, storytelling and art, to put it all together into something that can advance and preserve the legacy of the life and ideas of this powerfully profound young woman. Cut off in her, what seemed to be anyway like anybody else's prime. Better than anyone else's prime. Living life to her fullest. Cut short. And we knew in our hearts that when we got back that there were so many awesome things left to do. So many things left to say. Stories that have never been told. Pictures that have never been shared. Videos that no one's ever seen. And to keep inspiring people to be better. To be better than they ever have, so that they too can look at the hardest things in the eyes and say, you will not destroy me. You will not tear me down. Instead, I'm going to stand strong. And like Samantha, I'm going to learn to dance at the edge of an active volcano. Even if that lava destroys me, I shall not do anything but stand with a smile on my face and a twinkle in my eye. That's Samantha. That is Team Tiny Dancer. And this has been Paleo Radio. I am so grateful for every single one of you, all the support you've ever shown. I cannot put into words. I've heard so many of you tell me this, that you simply don't have words to express or convey how you feel. Let me return that and echo it back at you. I will never, and I'm a loudmouth, I am a blabbermouth, and I could go on forever. But let me tell you, I do not have words that can fully encapsulate and express how truly grateful I am for the love and compassion that you've shown. I am so grateful for everything. Listen,
I'll tell you what, real quick, do we want to just keep going a little bit? Because we just got a caller in. I can do it. I can do it. So here's what I'm going to do.
That was a good ending for the show.
I'm going to kill this, so that's not going to go out over the air. So we'll let Angela pick up in there. Go ahead and start the computer at 3:30, and we'll just keep it off air, and we'll just run things as they are. So go ahead and start her up now, and we'll just keep going a little bit longer. This is the beauty of live radio, is that we can do this, especially when management is
present
here, and we need to take line one. This is Raina Cook from Women Libs.
Yeah, this is Raina.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Yes, hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, you've totally made my afternoon. I'm so happy that you called.
Well, I was trying to get back in time, but I had to do last-minute school shopping, so I made it back just in time.
Well, I'll tell you, you're important enough of a caller that on the spot, literally, I was winding everything down. I was going to wrap it up nice with a bow, and say, hey, go to Paleo Radio on Twitter, go to Paleo Radio on Facebook, check us out at the .com kind of stuff. I was going to do that, and then you called.
And I ruined it all.
You ruined it. You totally ruined it. No, but I'm so glad that you called. And, let me say this before, because I don't know what you're going to say, but I know what I'm going to say now. I am really grateful for the conversations that we've had, and specifically in relation to what we're talking about here, the conversations that we had when I was with Samantha and the family at Beaumont. We were, those are some of the hardest, most heartbreaking days of my entire life. I mean, I've never felt defeat like I felt defeat there. Begging and pleading for any possible thing that anyone could do, arguing with doctors, and feeling at times alone. I mean, there were times where Angela and the kids, they would have to head out and they would go to the hotel and I would stay with Samantha, and those nights were hard. Mm-hmm. And yet, you were going through similar things with similar fears. And the words of encouragement that you had for me, I'll go to the grave cherishing those things.
Well, it's been a really interesting way for us to connect. It's just very strange that we're both working on the same radio station, had never met in real life. We're just Facebook friends, but without ever having really connected at all. And having found out that both of our children were in the hospital at the very same time, and that we both found out that they had, growths in their skulls. It's just like such an amazing, strange thing to have happen to two people who are connected on, some level that way. It took for it to happen, for things to go over a year, for it to come back for us, and for things to get really serious for you before we actually made that connection. And I also cherish that, because our friendship has gotten to be, we became close very quickly because of the intensity that was surrounding our situations. And we were able to support one another through some really, really difficult, scary times. And, just being able to have somebody else, and even though our situations were not exactly the same, we had a lot of the same fears, and it was just really great to be able to have somebody who understood that for both of us to speak to. And what I think has been really great is that relationship has continued, and we still check in with each other and still, chat on the phone and send texts like, hey, how you doing? It's just really important to me to have fostered that relationship that I'm sure, will be a continuing one. Well, and I'm really grateful that MRI results, because you were going through a time that was really hard, and you were real nervous, and as a parent, with Samantha and what she was going through, we had those MRIs regularly too. They were scheduled once every 3 months, and the weeks leading up to it, you're always sorely afraid. Oh yeah. There's such a degree of uncertainty. It's not like our eyes have, MRI powers where we can see inside of the brains of our loved ones. And so it's all symptomatic. It's all, is there anything? And it's easy to amplify things that may not be symptomatic, and yet, you wonder and say, well, is she or he forgetting more often? Is there weakness involved in anything? Are they sleeping more than ordinarily? And so to know that your MRIs came back positive, that was like the best news. Yeah. I was so happy for you and for your son and your family over that. And so, well, thank you. Your support was very, very helpful to me to make me feel like I could get through that. Well, I'll tell you, I'm wearing, actually right now, I'm wearing on my left arm, on my wrist, I have Samantha's fancy Solo Time quartz watch. And I get more compliments off this watch than anything else on my body. I do. It's amazing. And then right above it, I have a bracelet that you gave me the day of the funeral. Yeah. And, what you said to me meant a lot about how our words and the family and the story, how it was a rock for you. And so it's a powerful thing.
And I'm just really grateful. I'm grateful for the bracelet. And if it ever breaks, because it's that fish wire, if it ever breaks, I'm going to scramble to make sure I don't lose any of these. Yes, I'm going to save them, and
we'll string it back up.
We'll string it back up. So I'm so grateful that you called, Raina. I enjoy being friends with you, and you've got a fantastic show. You have to have me on, though.
Yeah, we're definitely we're talking about it for sure. It will happen.
Yeah,
very soon.
Yeah, it has to happen. 100%.
Yes, by the way, we are doing a replay on Monday, correct?
Sure. Yeah, that works for me since we don't really have any other gals with us this week.
Yeah, Mary is recovering from surgery that she had a few days ago, and we found out a couple days ago that Bryn needs to take some time off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well, I wish you the best. I'm grateful that you took the time to call, and we'll talk on the other side, of course.
You got it.
Okay.
All right, and much love to you and your family.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, if you too would like to be part of the conversation, we invite you to. We have now extended. This is overtime. It's second overtime.
Second overtime. But we can if you want to wrap it up now, we can do that. We've already got David Packman playing. All we need to do is just bring the pot back up, and we're good. Otherwise, if you want to keep going, we can do that too.
Well, I'll give one more. I'll give one more shout out for the phone number, and we'll see how it goes over the next couple minutes, 5 minutes or so. 616-656-1680.
And by the way, you're not the only one that's going overtime right now. Dr. Jill Stein was supposed to be finishing her speech at about 3:00 in Detroit today. I am monitoring this on a live stream. Ben Knopfs, who's the Green Party candidate for the 10th Congressional District over in the Thumb area, who was just on Southpaws a few weeks ago, is still broadcasting the Jill Stein speech live. So she's gone overtime, too.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been so much fun. I'm actually getting a cue card from my wife to wrap it up. We're dog sitting. But I got to just say, I know I've said this already, but I want to say it again. I am not only so grateful for all of the people who called, right? Everyone who's called, everyone who's gone on Facebook, and I wish that I would have been able to read things out on Facebook. I'll do it in a Periscope. I'll commit myself right now to saying that I will do a Periscope. I'll start doing them kind of regularly, where I can simply go and thank people for the cards that they sent, the art and the paintings that have been sent. In fact, there's a couple people who've painted portraits of Samantha. And so super excited about that. And we can go through and do that. But I want to say something. Okay. There was a guy. His name is Justin Michael High. And Justin Michael High, he's been following my stuff for a while, and he's been pretty active on Facebook and following the story. And his girlfriend Sarah was diagnosed with cancer. And while Samantha was going through what she was going through, and Justin expressed numerous times to me just how important it was that he would go to my Facebook page and he would see the updates and he would glean things from them to be able to deal with the very scary situation that he and Sarah were going through. But I got this yesterday. I got this on my wall. It says, "Best day ever. Took Sarah to her doctor's appointment to find out about her CT scan last week. And guess what? The cancer's gone. Thank God." Jeremiah Bannister and a whole bunch of other people. And he mentions down further, he says, "Like I've said to you before, you've helped me through this more than you'll ever know." And that's, I got to say, apart from making it through pretty sane, right? Doing okay, not completely broken, but not just making it through alone, but to know that there are other people who've benefited so powerfully, right? To go through those really dark nights of the soul, if you will, to go through those times and through those places, and to be able to glean strength from that, whether from the pictures or the videos or the hashtags of never give up, keep on smiling, or through my storytelling, whatever it was. To say, you know what, in this thing, I find love. In this thing, I find hope. To me, priceless. And I'm so grateful. So, once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this extended version of Paleo Radio. We went an hour and 40 minutes.
Yep.
We went an hour and 40 minutes, and if it wasn't for you, that wouldn't have happened. I'd be talking about ridiculous things. And, hey, listen, from now on, when Joe comes back, we're going to be doing our show regularly again. I told him I'm back in September. So when he comes back, we are going to have your regularly formatted program. You can find us on Spreaker at Spreaker.com/Paleo Radio Show. You can also find us on iTunes. And make sure, write reviews. We love those things, especially if they're really good. Okay, if they're really good, we love them. It's our favorite thing. And so we're just so grateful for all that everyone has done for us. And we encourage you to check it out. You can find out more about Paleo Radio at PaleoRadioshow.com. And, of course, follow us on Twitter at Paleo Radio Show and on Facebook at Facebook.com/Paleo Radio. It's that simple. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you so much. And make sure to stay tuned for your regular programming that we're going to have here with David Packman. And thank you for listening to Paleo Radio, part of Secular Media Group and Public Reality Radio.